Okay, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, Friday, January 17th, 2025. Now, it was this very run yesterday that we were headed to the Rudy Giuliani trial for its 9 a.m. beginning. But when we arrived at the courthouse, photographers and others were outside because Rudy had yet to arrive, even at 9 o'clock, even at 9:30, even at 10 o'clock. In fact, he never did come. In fact, he ended up tweeting a picture of his dog from Mar-a-Lago. This was a precursor to his lawyer, Joseph Camerata, emerging from the jury room and saying, "We have good news," and Andrew Giuliani showing up. And suddenly, the case was essentially dropped. The trial did not happen, and it was announced, and the plaintiffs, the Georgia poll workers, put out a statement saying they're glad that they won't be defamed again, and that for the compensation. Now, the compensation does not include the New York Co-op, the Florida condo, the Yankee rings, the Mercedes, none of it. So what is the compensation? And I hate to say it, who's paying it? I think that things will come out. I smell something, but we'll see. In any event, we wrote the book. It's called Rudy Giuliani, From Prosecutor to Defendant in the SDNY. Glad we put it out when we did, because there is no trial. And we'll stay on the beat, though, of course. Immediately in the middle of all that, there was a final pretrial conference for Nadine Menendez. This is a sort of follow-up. She would have been on trial with Bob Menendez, Weil Hanna, Fred Davies, but she had some medical issues. So her trial was put off, but now it's going to, if it goes the way that they're talking about, it's going to be a 10-week trial, because she's refusing to, well, not refusing, it's her right. She's not doing any stipulations. 500. She's not doing any stipulations, so it's going to take a long time. At yesterday's proceeding, her lawyer talked about an expert they want to put on, a man from CUNY who's going to talk about Middle East gift-giving of gold bars. What's the Middle East connection, you say? Armenia? Not in the Middle East. Lebanon. I think she grew up in Lebanon. Also, Fred Davies grew up in an UNRWA camp. We'll come to that in a moment. Then became a New Jersey developer. There were some allegations of toxic dumping on Little League fields. You can look it up. He's going to be sentenced on the 29th, April 29th, along with Bob. But Nadine, the trial will happen, unless she pleads out, February 5th. It looks Judge Stein has repeatedly denied any more delay. So we will be covering that. Eric Adams, not so much legal, but he's down in Mar-a-Lago, and we'll see how it impacts his case here in the SDNY. That we'll have to see. The other candidates are all shooting hard. Mamdani, Jessica Ramos, everybody's shooting at it. So we'll see what comes out of that. Now, I mentioned UNRWA, and that's because it's a United Nations agency. We've been asking the United Nations throughout the current Gaza war that seems to be resulting in a ceasefire right before the inauguration. But the UN has refused to answer any questions. And it's because they've thrown Inner City Press out. Now, there was an incident yesterday at the State Department that's getting a lot of play, and it is pretty visually striking. But be aware, the UN did exactly the same thing, and nobody did. There hasn't been, there's yet to be any repercussions for it. We think that that's going to change. That would be the hope. We're going to turn it around here so you can see where yesterday, only yesterday, the sidewalk was absolutely jammed with people waiting for Rudy to arrive, and he never did. But that's it. So, signing off for now. Have a good weekend. Inner City Press, to be continued.